what amazes me, Kevin, is that Brooke didn't do some magnanimous, like this huge act of kindness that took time, effort, money, and so on. It was so simple. She drove 2 miles from the grocery store to you within 2 minutes and gave you this. And it was a spark. It was a spark of kindness because I feel like there's like a kindness wildfire that's spreading now from York. Your own governor of Pennsylvania has embraced Kindness Week and so on. And you know what? It goes to show you that humanity, certainly in our country, but I feel like that's worldwide too, is in such need of good news and sharing wonderful, uplifting stories. This is a tough world. We're living in a world that's oftentimes divided, and there's darkness, but I see so much light from your story. Like I feel like this is like if there was a map with Little York, Pennsylvania, I feel like there's light emanating on the map, towards the rest of the country.
Welcome to the Kindness Factor podcast, sharing life-changing personal stories of the transformational impact of deep kindness. Hosted by
Dr. Ilya, the happiness doctor,
and Randy McNeely, the kindness giver. Thank you for joining us. Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you may be. I'm Randy McNeely, co-host of the Kindness Factor podcast, joined by my amazing partner and co-host, Dr. Ilya Gorgoris, the happiness doctor. And we are so thrilled today. Now, see that smile? You can't help but want to smile just seeing the Greek smile is right there. And we're blessed and honored today to have an amazing man named Kevin Smith, founder of Kindness Worldwide, with us today to talk a little bit about kindness and how it's transformed his life and what you and I can do to transform ours. Ilya, how about you share a little bit about Kevin with our audience?
Kevin is a heart-centered, through and through, wonderful human being, a kindness advocate, and a trusted advisor, friend, and colleague. So I can go on and on and on, but more importantly, our audience wants to hear his story. So let's get to Kevin as quickly as we can.
Okay, why don't you jump right in, Kevin? We're going to let you tell us a little bit about who you are and why, the why behind what you're doing right now.
Oh, absolutely. Well, last Good Friday morning, I lost my wallet after a routine trip to the grocery store. Within 2 minutes after I got home, right with the moment I realized it was lost, a Good Samaritan woman was at my front door with wallet in hand. And she returned it the moment she discovered it. And it just had a profound impact on me. It made me see the good again. I didn't realize that all the negativity of watching the news too much over the years, it was weighing on me. And I was starting to see the world through a glass half empty lens. And this one act of kindness like snapped me out of a subconscious trance and made me realize that the good is the norm, the bad's the exception. There's good and kindness all around. I just need to open my eyes to see it. So, seeing the good again and just changing my worldview was a very profound impact. Number two, for all the bad that does exist, it was weighing on me, and I felt powerless to do anything about it. We all know there's been a lot going on in the world in recent years with COVID and other events, and I'm like, who am I to do anything about it? What can I do to change it? So you take a defeatist attitude, you just accept it. But ironically, after this event occurred, I started to see an opportunity and a path to actually do something about it. Where, you know what, maybe I can do something about it. If nothing else, I'm committed to try. And it reminds me of Michael Jackson's song "Man in the Mirror." I started with the man in the mirror, and I asked him to change his ways. And I was a good person before this began, but I know I can do better, and I can try to do my part. And I think if we all do our part in a similar way, I think we can make a greater impact for the betterment of our country and our world.
What's really impressive about your story, specifically about Brooke, is the fact that you got home and you're looking for your wallet and you're searching everywhere, and she shows up almost immediately, which means that she never thought twice about doing the good deed. Like the minute she found your wallet, she didn't hesitate. She didn't like, well, I don't know what. She got in her car and drove straight to you, right? I mean, you didn't go back to the supermarket to look for it. She came to you immediately. That tells me where her heart was.
Absolutely. What makes her story even more impressive is that she wasn't even driving that day. Her friend was driving, and she found my wallet. She looked and saw my driver's license, knew where I lived. Her friend did not want to take her home, take her to my home to return it, because her friend thought I would get the wrong idea. But Brooke insisted. She says, no, I know where he lives. It's not that far away. She insisted to do so. And so I think that it stood out even more to me, is that it had been so easy just to hand it to the store manager, and that would have been fine. That would have been impressive enough. But she literally went the extra mile without hesitation. It really speaks to her heart-centeredness, as you described.
Exactly.
Well, it's something you just said. It really, she was willing to go the extra mile. Now, that inspired you. We know your story. We know what it inspired you to do. And the fact that that term, go the extra mile, is something that you utilize now. Why don't you share with our audience a little bit about what that experience with Brooke drove you to do? What it is, how has it driven you to pay it forward?
Well, first and foremost, I thank you wasn't enough at the time. I thought I should have done more. And initially, I reached out to the news. The news covered the story, which ended up spreading and went viral across the country, which shows that it doesn't take much good news to stand out with all the negativity going on. And the story resonated with people. And that was, at least initially, how the journey began, is just to acknowledge her in a more meaningful way, which that story did. And she got some attention from that, as she deserved. But I felt there was more, because she was still anonymous to other people. But I was known only to me. I discovered who she was, and I wanted to pay it forward. And that led to a fascinating connection with the York County SPCA and another number of coincidences that led to this path, this journey, to basically pay her act of kindness forward in a much broader way, in a way that would bring people and communities together. And it just took on a life of its own. I mean, proclamation of Kindness Week, ultimately leading to the formation of my nonprofit Kindness Worldwide, which has a vision of creating a culture of kindness in communities throughout the world. And there's a path. We've had multiple communities proclaim Kindness Week locally for this November, which will be Kindness Week 2024. We have other communities on board. The proclamation is written, the toolkit's readily available on our website. And there's a path, actually, to take this concept of Kindness Week more broadly and inspire others, just as what occurred locally here in York and in Pennsylvania.
Tell us a little bit about specifically what has happened to York as a result of this. Like what's going on in York, that York is now becoming the center, of the country in a lot of ways in terms of kindness. What specifically is York doing?
Well, I will tell you, Ilya, that Kindness Week last year in November, it was one of the best weeks of my life, most meaningful weeks of my life. What happened in York was nothing less than, it was magical. And if it can happen in York, it can happen anywhere and everywhere. So basically, we had official recognition of Kindness Week. York City, Mayor Helfrich, and York County Commissioners, of course, other areas, and Governor Shapiro joined in the celebration as well. But what we had in York, we had a number of things. We had blood drives throughout the community. Donating blood is very symbolic of paying it forward and can literally save lives. So we had blood drives. We had the York City Police Department and the entire county, York County Sheriff's Department, issuing kindness citations, which is a concept I developed. Basically,
what are kindness citations? What are kindness citations?
That's what is that?
Yeah, well, it's basically changing the paradigm. I mean, as we know, there have been some events in recent years that unfortunately, some bad actors out there, but that's the exception, not the norm. I was trying to change the paradigm, because what kindness citations is a way of doing is condition and train the police to see the good in our communities, which is the norm. It defines our communities, but also for our community to see the good that defines our police. And so not just being, trained to see the bad to protect our communities, but to see the good and recognize those who represent the best of our communities. So a kindness citation simply has a number of different acts of kindness. And there's another category where, an officer can write in something that they observe. And basically, if you're on patrol and you see someone doing kind, maybe it's assisting an officer, maybe it's compassion to animals, whatever it may be, beautifying the neighborhood, they can recognize that individual on the spot with a citation. Another way the citations are issued is there can be nominations. There's people in our community who do wonderful things all the time that often go under the radar, people don't hear of. So people can nominate people in the community that are doing kind things, and then the police would actually appear and give them a citation. So it was magical. Our city police commissioner, Muldrow, was in his patrol car saying, "Hey, it's Kindness Week. We're looking for people being kind." And it was really incredible to watch and observe.
That would be great in our community, because I'm just used to speeding citations. That's the only thing that I know of.
I didn't think you might have. Did it give anybody? Did it give anybody a heart-stopping experience? I mean, you imagine having the police show up at your house or to stop you to say, "Oh, we're going to give you a citation." You're at first you're like,
What did I do? Right.
Yeah, well, and I think, and that's where changing the paradigm is, right? I mean, generally, that's maybe the first impression of the places in your neighborhood is like, well, who did something wrong, or what did I do? This is a way of turning that around. And there were people who got citations that were literally in tears. It was so meaningful to them, and it brought me to tears in many cases just watching it, because our commissioner, a lot of times, he had it on his body cam. He had it, he was recording it. He had a photographer with him, and it was really incredible to see. And I think it reminds us that in general, throughout our country, I think this is a model that can be applied anywhere. Because think about, I mean, there's a lot of places in our country, in our world, where rightly or wrongly, people see a police car and they just have a perception that's other than reality. And well, what if over time, by the issuance of kindness citations, we have a young child or a kid or family, they see a police car and they want to do something good because they want to be noticed because they might get a citation, right? Instead of feeling like, I've done something bad, and being afraid or intimidated by a place, it's the opposite. It's a way of improving police community relations over time.
Exactly. I was just going to say that the community then becomes like a family, and really you're changing or going back maybe to the old days of truly protecting and serving and catching other people in the community that are serving, and then showcasing that. What a beautiful, you know, what amazes me, Kevin, is that Brooke didn't do some magnanimous, like this huge act of kindness that took time, effort, money, and so on. It was so simple. She drove 2 miles from the grocery store to you within 2 minutes and gave you this. And it was a spark. It was a spark of kindness, because I feel like there's a kindness wildfire that's spreading now from York. Your own governor of Pennsylvania has embraced Kindness Week and so on. And you know what? It goes to show you that humanity, certainly in our country, but I feel like that's worldwide too, is in such need of good news and sharing wonderful, uplifting stories. This is a tough world. We're living in a world that's oftentimes divided, and there's darkness, but I see so much light from your story. Like, I feel like there's like, if there was a map with Little York, Pennsylvania, I feel like there's light emanating on the map, towards the rest of the country.
Well, it was magical. Honestly, I can't even describe it. You almost had to experience it to believe it. I mean, it was really miraculous what occurred here, and that's why I said earlier, if it could happen here, it can happen anywhere and everywhere. But I think you're right. I mean, this was a spark that I think ignited a flame, and a flame could ignite an inferno. And I think our world is ready for something that brings people together. We've been through a lot in recent years, and there's so much that divides us, but sometimes we need to take a deep breath and remind ourselves of what unites us and brings us together. And kindness is the universal language everyone understands. It transcends borders, cultures, distances, and time. It's unifying. My story, I believe, it resonates with people because it's actual proof that no act of kindness is too small to make a difference and change a life, and that anyone can make a lasting impact, even change the world through kind actions. And so my life has been profoundly changed by this act of kindness. It has inspired others locally and beyond. And I think this is going to really take root, and it's going to bring communities together elsewhere throughout the country and the world in the same way it did here. I feel with every fiber of my being that we're ready for something to bring us together. We're ready for that spark to ignite a flame in an inferno, and nothing better than a kindness contagion that I think we're all ready for.
Can you tell us a little bit about Kindness Worldwide? Speak a little bit about your company, Guy, or this nonprofit Kindness Worldwide. Where are you, and where do you envision it to go in the future?
Before we go there, though, I want to just add something to what Kevin just said, and then we can jump into that. Why is it that kindness is the universal language? In reality, kindness is what it is because kindness is love in action. It's kindness is the delivery mechanism for love. It's like the shell for the pill. We get the pills that have all the stuff inside them. Well, you got the little shell there. Kindness is the shell, and inside that is love. That's what touches hearts. That's what changes people. That's what brings people together. Brooke didn't get all squishy mushy like we say. We hear the word love, and some people just think about that. But the fact is, She was showing love for you. The fact that she pushed her friend, insisted that she bring that wallet to you and take the time, she was showing value and appreciation for you, and value and appreciation for the fact that you would probably be stressing out about where your wallet was and other things like that. That's why kindness is so powerful, because it does deliver love, and it's love that produces those feelings inside us that transcend differences. That's why love can bring people together. And regardless of race, regardless of gender, regardless of nationality, political beliefs, all that stuff, because of the way it engenders those feelings of caring and empathy and love in our hearts, that's why it transcends those differences. That's what's so powerful about what you're talking about. You're talking about a spark. What is that spark doing? It's igniting love's fire. It's igniting love's fire wherever it is lit, wherever it lands. And so so Elia, go back, and I just had to throw that in there. Go back and ask that question again.
So Kevin, tell us about Kindness Worldwide. Where is it right now, and where do you see it going?
Well, first and foremost, it was never my intention to form a nonprofit. This took on a life of its own where I felt I had no choice. This all happened by accident. Unbeknownst to me, I was creating a business model which had a lot of promise, and the business model was a business model of kindness. Bringing people together. And what happened locally, it was my brother-in-law, Michael Binko, who specializes in working with entrepreneurs. He's done his whole career, and one day he was reading what I was doing, and he looked up and he said, "Kevin," he said, "do you realize you have created in 5 months a sustainable, replicable business model that has a higher probability of success than even the most promising startups he's ever worked with takes 5 years or more to do?" And I looked at him and was like, "What?" I didn't realize I was creating a business model.
Yeah, why did you say that? I'm curious.
Well, I think from his experience, I was asked to write my objectives along the way, and I kept a timeline of people I met with, and he read it, one afternoon. He's my brother-in-law, and he was up for a family occasion, and kind of got a better sense of what I was doing. And I didn't even know I was creating a business model. I was just trying to thank a Good Samaritan in a more meaningful way. And I just wanted to have this celebration in New York and be done. It was very time intensive, and it's really consumed a huge part of my life. And he said, "Kevin, you can't let this go. This has potential to inspire and bring people together throughout the country and the world. You got to start a nonprofit." And it occurred to me that he's right. This is so much bigger than me, and I could not, in good conscience, say I'm done. If there's a path, an opportunity to bring people together more broadly, I had to pursue it, or I need to have a clear conscience. So it's led to this formation of Kindness Worldwide. The vision is to create a culture of kindness in communities throughout the world. There are several tactical elements to that in our mission. One is officially recognizing humanity's greatest asset. That's where the proclamations come in by governing bodies. Sharing kindness stories more broadly. I think there's stories everywhere of kindness, transformative power of kindness that we rarely hear about. We need to get these stories out there to inspire and empower others as well, making these stories more broadly known. We can use the unifying properties of music, artistic creation, and sports. Is a great way of transcending differences and bringing people together. There are some initiatives we develop in that realm. Of course, kindness citations by police departments, bringing police and community together. And again, it's the service aspect which is so important. And even just making kindness intentional in our daily lives, routines. See the good and be the good cards we developed. Kindness rocks. So many things consistent with that vision of creating a culture of kindness in our communities.
So you're seeing basically a York type in every community, every city, in every state of our union, throughout the country and beyond, embrace and basically replicate or duplicate, I think the kindness citations, can you imagine if every police department in the country had kindness citations as the norm, and they did that throughout the year? Literally, this country would not be the same country. By that alone, never mind anything else.
You think about it. What Kevin, what's your motto? Is see the good, be the good, go the extra mile. That's seeing. If what Elia was just saying, if every police department in the United States was giving out kindness citations, well, what would that do? They would be looking for the good. They would be seeing the good and seeking for the good. And when we do that, when we're looking for the good, we find it. We can find it. The fact is that there is good all around us all the time. I mean, there are good things happening all the time. The challenge is that we don't always have our eyes open to see them. It's like we've got blinders on, like they do on the side of, horses' heads. There's sometimes we're so caught up and so focused on our own challenges and the own things going around, we aren't walking around looking for intentional opportunities to give kindness away and to see the good that's happening around us. So think about how that would change if people were seeing the good and then striving to be the good, etc.
I can't imagine like a mayor or a chief of police or a commissioner someone saying, no, we don't want to do that in our town. I just can't imagine that, because who wouldn't want to do this? Like it's the gift that keeps on giving and spreading and breaking down barriers and uniting people. Like I'm just visualizing how, like, from York, like I said, this wildfire of kindness spreading throughout the land, and how beautiful it is that every municipality needs this. Every single one.
We're seeing that locally, Ilya. I mean, for Kindness Week this November, which will be November 9th through 16th. It's always the Saturday before World Kindness Day, the Saturday after. It's 8 days. We're going the extra mile to add a day to the week. And there's 8 characteristics of kindness, 8 days in Kindness Week. But so just what we're working on here locally is my goal and my aim, and there's a path, is every municipality in at least 2 counties, York and Adams, proclaiming Kindness Week. I've had 100% response rate so far. We're broadening it to other cities. We've got, Westminster, Maryland's going to be our first Kindness Week worldwide community outside of Pennsylvania. There's outreach in other states, even other countries. And when I have a conversation with any mayor or any government official, the model's there, the toolkit's there, the proclamation's written. It's so easy to do. No one has said no, and there's no reason to say no.
Right.
And as we celebrate kindness more broadly, we inspire others, and we become the change we wish for. I've never been accused of not being a go big or go home kind of guy, and this is as big as it gets. But to your point, the vision is that we officially recognize kindness through Kindness Week worldwide in every municipality, in every county and every state in the country, and every country in the world. Now, it's very aspirational, but I see a path, and this movement is spreading. It's spreading in Pennsylvania, it's spreading to neighboring states here, and as word of the story gets out, I believe the bigger the movement's going to spread, and we can actually do some really good things that remind people that the little things are the big things. We get so caught up in things and dwell and stress in our day-to-day lives and careers, whatever it may be, and the things that are out there. But we always got to remind ourselves that the little things, the big things, and just make kindness intentional and part of our day-to-day lives and routines.
Wow. Well, Kevin, it's just it's such a blessing to be able to share this time with you, to be able to have the opportunity to hear your story. The truth is, Ely and I have been so impressed with Kevin's story that we've been partners working towards getting our human interest series, The Kindness Factor, on the air. We've been working to be a voice for kindness in the world and in entertainment. And so we reached out to Kevin, and we are thrilled to be able to say that we're partnered with Kevin. We're partnering with Kindness Worldwide. As part of World Kindness Week, we're going to be doing everything we can to capture the in-the-moment impact, the things that are happening during that week, and be able to showcase the organizations that are part of this and the communities that are part of this, and be able to capture the amazing things that are happening in the lives of ordinary people, capturing that transformative power of kindness, and be able to share it not only with people in the communities where it's happening, but with people around the world. Let everybody see what's happening because of Kindness Worldwide, because of World Kindness Week, and how it can make a difference in your communities. And we just are thrilled to have the opportunity to work directly with you on that.
Well, thank you, Randy. Well, I do want to say this, is that it's a beautiful story, no denying that. But as beautiful as this story is, the most beautiful part is what's going to happen next. What's happened locally, what's going to happen more broadly. And the way I look at it is, Brooke wrote the introduction to the story, and I was inspired to write the forward, pay it forward, so to speak. But the most beautiful part are the chapters that have yet to be written. I mean, York grabbed the pen and locally here in Pennsylvania, but that pen is being handed to communities elsewhere. throughout the country and the world. And that's the most beautiful part of the story. And I can't wait to see the beautiful chapters yet to be written.
Kevin, as we conclude, what is one piece of advice as a result of what's happened to you in the kindness sphere that you can share with our audience? That's something that they can think and ponder on, and then will help them move into action.
Well, I perhaps alluded to this earlier, but this story is proof that no act of kindness is too small to make a difference and change a life, and that anyone can make a lasting impact and even change the world through kind actions. It can be you, it could be me, it could be Brooke, it could be any one of us. So I think my challenge to everyone would be is just to, start looking in the mirror like I did, and just we all have a role to be a little bit better each day. And if we're just a little bit better, a little bit more kind each day, those ripple effects can create a wave and have huge positive implications. So just in our own way, just play our part, do our part, to just see the good in others. But it's not enough to just see the good, but be the good and go the extra mile in being it, and imagine a world of kindness that would result.
Thank you so much for being on our show. You're such a heart-centered, wonderful. I can call you brother, not even a friend.
It's likewise. It really truly is. It's a blessing to have met you both.
How can people follow you?
How can they connect with you? How can people connect?
And find out more about Kindness Worldwide too.
Sure. Well, I refer everyone to our website, which is www.kindnessworldwide.org. There's contact information there. We have a LinkedIn page. We have a Facebook page, Instagram, which I don't use Instagram as much, and I have my personal LinkedIn page. But I would start with the website. And I would also say, if anyone is a mayor, anyone in your audience, or knows an elected official in your town, the toolkit's written, the proclamation's there. The hard part was last year, building the model and all that entailed, as intense as it was. The easy part, honestly, is spreading this movement more broadly. And it takes a village, and we all can play a part in this story, and very easy to do. So I'd encourage you to do that. But our website pretty much has all the resources that one would need.
Great.
Thank you so much. We're so grateful to have you on our show, but more importantly, that our paths crossed in such a beautiful way, and how we complement one another. And the one thing to our audience is these three gentlemen that you see here, there's no ego. It's all just heart. We're just here to do something good for whatever sphere of influence we all have. And that sphere of influence is growing by leaps and bounds, almost on a daily basis. It's kind of hard to keep up with in some ways, and it's beautiful.
Thank you so much, Kevin. We sincerely appreciate you taking the time to join us today. Great conversation. Sincerely appreciate you.
Thank you, Kevin.
I appreciate the two of you as well. We're going to do wonderful, great things together. Can't wait.
Hello, I'm Randy McNeely, co-host of the Kindness Factor podcast and co-creator of the Kindness Factor Human Interest series. Thank you so much for joining us today. We sincerely appreciate you. Kindness has totally transformed our lives, and we are totally dedicated to paying it forward by raising a voice for kindness. Why? Because kindness is love in action, and it's love that touches hearts, changes lives, and heals the world. If that resonates with you, we invite you to join us in our efforts to pay it forward. Here's how you can do that. First, subscribe to the Kindness Factor podcast at the link listed below. You can pay up to $10 per month. Your support will enable us to continue to deliver great content and to take our message to a much broader audience. Second, think of 5 people that you think our efforts will resonate with, and take the time to email them and invite them to listen to the podcast, and if it resonates with them, to do the same thing that we're asking of you. Finally, take the time to subscribe, to like, and to subscribe to all of our social media channels listed below. Remember, with kindness, everybody wins. Thank you so much for your support.